Primerica's ever seen. Give yourself a good hand clap and take a seat. So man, I'm so fired up tonight. You know, didn't all the speakers do a great job this evening? You know what I love about Primerica? Is it okay I share what I love about Primerica? I do that from time to time. Here's what I love about Primerica is that and by the way, not every Primerica office is like ours. You know, what I love about this business is that everything that we teach you, not only does it help you grow as a business person, not only does it help you grow as a producer, as a team builder, but it just helps you grow as a great human being. And everything that we teach you will bleed into every area of your life, if you let it. And so today, Ian asked me to speak and to close us out, and I want to talk to you guys about leadership tonight. And I want to talk to you not only about being a leader and what it truly does mean to be a leader, but I want to talk to you guys about positive leadership. Say positive leadership. I want to teach you not only about how to be a leader, but to be the most positive, the most fired up, the most excited leader that you can be. And you know what? It's interesting because as I scan the company, there's a lot of RVPs that you would think, the average RVP makes like $150,000 a year. You would think that all RVPs are positive. It's just not true. You would think that leaders in general would be positive, but they're not all positive. I want to teach you tonight on how to be a positive leader. And I hope you've got a notepad because I'm like freaking pumped today. I was writing this message and I text Pruck. I'm like, Pruck, dude, I'm fired up to give this message. I was like getting excited as I was writing it down. So first slide is, as an RV or as a leader in this business, you need to be up in a down world. You need to learn to be up in a down world. Here's what I've learned about positivity. Being a positive leader doesn't just make you better as a leader. It makes everybody around you better. Yeah. Have you ever been around somebody who's always excited, always pumped up, always passionate? You just naturally feel better in your day. Would you guys agree? Yeah. And how many of you guys have noticed that when you're around people who are negative all the time, they're down, their attitude is kind of sour, that starts to kind of rub off on you?
Yes.
Yeah.
In Primerica, the person that wins 99% of the time is the person that is always excited for as long as it takes to get the job done. Okay? So you've got to make a decision tonight that you're going to be a positive leader. Number 2, positive leaders drive positive cultures. So here's what you need to learn, ladies and gentlemen, about your business, is that you're not just, now look, Primerica is beautiful because you can do Primerica however you want it, and you can make it look like whatever you want it to look like. You could be a personal producer, and you could be that glorified salesperson. You can make more than the car salesman. You can make more than the realtor. You can make more than the insurance guy down the road. Kind of like Ian talked about, right? But the beauty and the vehicle of Primerica was designed for you not to have to be a big personal producer. The business of Primerica was designed for you to build big teams that build big teams that build big teams of people. And so if you're interested in that Primerica, there is a culture that you have to learn on how to not only grow, cultivate, maintain, and then duplicate. And the most important job that you have as a leader is to drive that culture forward. To drive the culture of competitive greatness, to drive the culture of relentlessness, to drive the culture of having a good attitude. How many of you guys would agree, by a show of hands, that this place tonight, walking in here, is probably one of the most unique places you ever been into in terms of employment, quote unquote. Okay? Everybody's happy, everybody's smiling, everybody's fired up. It's nothing like your miserable job. Would you guys agree? Okay? It's interesting because I read the statistic as I was doing my research for this message today. Do you know that Monday mornings at 9 a.m. is statistically proven is when most people die? People would rather die than go to their job that they hate. Okay? This place, Primerica, we've worked very, very hard on creating the culture that you are now a part of. Right? So listen, you sitting in this seat tonight, you will either add to the culture or take it away by your attitude. You will either add to the culture or take it away. So you can't just listen. You can't just speak it or lead the way. You have to show the way. You have to demonstrate your leadership. You have to demonstrate your positivity. You've got to show the way, because here's the deal. The energy that you put into your team and into your people, okay, and the culture determines the quality of it. The energy that you put into your team and that culture determines the quality of that culture. So how do we do that? How do we focus? Where do we spend our time as leaders? You can't focus on the fruit, you got to focus on the root. You can't focus on the fruit, you got to focus on the root in people. You know, people wear facades, they wear masks, they put on a fake smile, and everybody knows it, right? Everybody knows what you're going through something, you've got a family problem, you've got a money problem. You're not faking anybody out, okay? So the only way that we can really fix people is not focusing on the fruit of what you see on the outside, but it's focusing on the root of what that person is going through and building that relationship with them. Success is not created outside in, it's created inside out. That's awesome. You've got to change the heart before you can change the outcome. Amen? And this is what's so powerful about this business. This is why I was meditating on this, is that in our business, you're going to grow. Listen, you're going to either get bitter or you're going to get better in Primerica. That's right. You're going to get bitter because you're not getting the results you want and you're not allowing yourself to change in the process, or you're going to get better every single day as an individual. And listen, you're going to have bad things happen to you here. You're going to have people let you down. I'm going to let you down. Pruck's going to let you down. The leadership is going to let you down. You're going to have clients cancel on you. You're going to have people that tell you they're going to do one thing and then they do another, right? But here's the deal. Your circumstances and the events that happen in your life are not meant to define you. You are meant to define your circumstances. You are meant to determine how you respond as opposed to reacting to your circumstances. Your circumstances and events that happen to you are not meant to define you. You are the one who defines what life is going to do, right? You hear that phrase, life just happens to me. Freaking screw that. I'm going to happen to life, right? I'm not going to let my month just be what it's going to be. I'm going to happen to my month, right? I'm going to happen to my year. Life is not going to happen to me. I'm going to happen to my life. Amen? Amen. Number 4, talking about positive leaders. Positive leaders, we confront, transform, and we remove negativity. Wow. Positive leaders confront it, they transform, and ultimately remove negativity, not only from their lives, but from their environment, right? And here's the deal. People are like, positivity, that kind of sounds like some, new age hooey, something like that. Being positive is not going to guarantee, that I'll succeed. But you know what? Being negative will guarantee you won't. Yep. I'm going to say that again. I did say something. Yeah? Being positive is not going to guarantee you're going to succeed. But being negative guarantees that you'll never have any success. Good preaching, Coop. Amen. Yeah. Okay. So you've got to make a decision that when people interact with you, that you truly become the most positive person that you can be, right? I love the quote by Gandhi. He said, I'm not going to let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty feet. I'm not going to let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty feet. Think about, like, you know, if you have a brand new home, you know, my wife and I, we just built a brand new home, and if she was standing right here, she would vouch for it. You walk into that house, man, if you do not take your shoes off within like a square inch of that thing, you're like booted out. It's like an emergency, right? Get those shoes off, right? If you built a brand new home, you've got white carpet, you're not going to let somebody with mud on their shoes just walk through it, would you? Why? Because there's value. So you've got to guard your mind like you would guard that precious object, right? That you hold value to. So you've got to learn to confront it, transform it, and remove that negativity, okay? It's interesting because, you know, you look at a team, right? In Primerica, we're building teams, right? And you're going to have a whole bunch of personalities that you're working with, right? You're going to have positive people, you're going to have negative people, you're going to have everybody in between. And I don't believe that one person on your team could really, you know, make your team, but one person could definitely break it. That one person who doesn't have that right attitude, that one person that says the wrong thing, the one person that runs that kind of wrong play, right? They're not going to be, they might not make the team, but they could sure break it. Make sure that person's not you. Make sure that person's not you. So you've got to create a culture, not only for yourself, but for your team, where negativity is foreign. That it's almost alien. That it's odd to be negative. Right? I wasn't always the most positive person that I knew. I had to change and transform the way that I thought and responded to the world around me. Right? And think about it like this. How many people like hate bad traffic?
Yes.
Okay, I literally, like, anybody knows me, I've got some freaking road rage from time to time. I spend a lot of time on the road, okay? Like, I'm that guy who's, like, flipping the... No, I'm just kidding. I'm so nice. But here's the interesting about, like, think about this for your life, right? You know, you respond to bad traffic. If you're in a bad mood, you know, and something happened to you that day, you're that guy or gal that's like flipping the finger to somebody when all things are going crazy on the road. But then the very next day, traffic might be horrible, circumstance might be bad, you might even be stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic, but you've got some, you know, you're singing your favorite song, you know, everything's good on the inside of that car. That didn't change what's happening on the outside. Right? The bad traffic still exists. It's all about your perception and how you perceive what is actually going on and how you respond to it in that moment. So you've got to change the culture of your name. Okay? This is good tonight, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is what was fired up tonight. Okay, next. Positive leaders create relationships and connected teams.
That's good.
Listen, our business is about uniting, not dividing.
Yes.
Our business is all about uniting people together. You know, people long for connection, by the way. People, we are made to connect with other people, right? So you've got to learn how to unite and not divide. And here's what's so powerful. The more connected you are to the culture, the more connected you are to the vision, the more connected you are to your RVP, the more connected you are to your peers, the more committed you become.
Yes.
The more connected you become to the culture of Relentless and the Primerica vision, the more committed you become. Because there becomes something more than you. The vision becomes bigger than you and I. Right? Everybody wants to be a part of something greater and bigger. Right? And you won't have commitment without connection. You just won't. You will not have commitment without that connection. You say, man, I feel like I'm kind of on the outskirts of this thing. I've got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You know, I'm kind of feeling like this could be the thing for me. Right? How connected are you to your RVP? How many times a week do you call him or her? Right? How often are you pursuing them to get better as a leader? You know, when I was just getting started, I remember calling Ian up. Literally, like, because I was so hungry to learn and be connected. I remember calling up literally at like 11 at night. And I was like, Ian, dude, sorry to call you so late, but I'm so freaking excited. I want to grow. I want to get better. I said, dude, I know it's late, but can I come over right now and practice my presentation with you? And you know what? He said, sure. Right? I came over from 11 to 1, and we just kind of drilled for skill. Right? I was connected, and it's not by accident, right? Great book, Success is Not an Accident, by Tommy Newberry. One of my favorite books of all time, right? Success doesn't just happen. It doesn't just happen. It comes to those who freaking work their butt off day in and day out and commit like never before. So leadership begins with that connection. And you know what? Anybody who knows me knows that I love my team. Right, man? You've got to love your team. You've got to love your people. You got to care about people. Right? Love, I believe, when you care for your people and you care for your team, not only will you get more production and more, all the numbers, right? All that, but you will command a loyalty to your vision.
That's good.
People will move mountains for you. You know, so you ever met anybody, when I was a kid, I used to go to like the, what is it called? Like vacation Bible schools and all that. Did anybody hear the band? Know that old like Christian group DC Talk?
Yeah.
Did anyone know DC Talk?
Concert, baby.
Okay, yeah, it was awesome. Okay, there was this great song by DC Talk called "Love Is a Verb." Okay, it's like a freaking awesome song. Okay, classic like '90s like Christian music. Okay, and it talks about how love does, right? Love does. It does. There's action to it. And when your people know that you care and love about them, whether by the way they produce or not, they will move mountains for you.
That's good.
Okay? And then finally, guys, positive leaders lead with purpose and grit. Positive leaders lead with purpose and grit. You know, here's what's so interesting. I hear Primerica people say this, oh, I'm so tired. Man, I've been working so hard. I'm so burnt out. You know, oh man, I've been going so hard at this thing and it's just not getting going. Listen, we don't get burned out as individuals and as leaders because of what we do and the work that we do. We get burned out because we forget why we do it.
That's good.
We forget why. We forget the why of what makes us cry. We forget the why and the thing that fired us up about this opportunity. We forget the why and we lose sight of it because of the external events, right? Hard work does not freaking make you tired. A lack of purpose does. Hard work does not. I know, I'm dropping bomb after bomb. I told you. I hope you're writing this down, okay? Or Facebooking it, whatever, okay? Hard work. Oh yeah, that's the tune. Love Is a Verb. Go ahead, listen to it, download it on iTunes, okay? I'll say it again. Hard work does not make you tired. A lack of purpose does. If you don't know where you're going here, any road will get you there. Right? You've got to have a vision. You've got to have a purpose. And when you have a vision and a purpose of why you're doing this, this will never be work to you. This has never been work to me. Why? Because I have a clear vision of what I want. Okay? You've got to find your purpose here. You know, I think a lot of people pursue happiness in life. And, you know, unfortunately, happiness is just an emotion. It comes and it goes. It's here 1 minute, it's gone the next, right? Happiness, kind of like I said earlier, it's an inside job. It's not going to come from the external because there's good and bad things happening every single day. Happiness doesn't come from the work you do, but it comes from the meaning and purpose you bring to your work and the lives that you change in the process. Happiness, people are like trying to find happiness. You're not going to find it out here. You've got to find it in here, in the value of what you do and the meaning you bring to those lives around you. You know what I know about my life? I know this, and this is the way that I look at my business and the people in my business. Whether you come here and you work here 1 day, or you work here 1,000 days, or 100,000 days, I know this. My vision, and this is just for me, I want people to remember the experience they had with John Cooper. I want them to remember that that man is a man of character. That man is a man of integrity. That man loves people. That man has a vision. That man impacted my life just for the brief seconds in time that I met him. Right? Don't you want to be remembered like that?
Yeah.
Don't want, there's people, Annie and I went on an appointment the other day with her brother-in-law who worked with us for a very short period of time. And it's wild. I hadn't seen, his name's Chris. I hadn't seen Chris in years. I mean, literally probably 3.5, maybe 4 years. And I walk in the door. I haven't seen him. I really haven't even seen him on Facebook. He's not on Facebook too often. And I walk in, and dude, he gives me this big hug. And big hug as if I've seen him every single day from 3.5 years ago, didn't he? Right? And it's like, that's the lasting impression that you want to leave and the mark you leave on people's lives. Right? That's where true happiness comes. Don't seek happiness, seek purpose. Don't seek happiness, seek purpose in how you're impacting people's lives here. Right? And then finally, grit. I talked about this last week, but leaders, true positive leaders, lead with grit. Right? And they love the grit. They love the hard battle. Because if you don't love this, you'll never be great at it.
That's true.
If you don't love this, you'll never be great. You could be good.
Yep.
You could get results, but you'll never build an army of crusaders
That's good.
that love it.
Yeah.
And love powers grit. It really does. When you love something, it empowers it. It gives you the strength. You won't quit when the world says you should if you have that grit. Because listen, you're going to have every opportunity under the sun to quit here.
Yeah.
And not just once, but multiple times. Not just multiple times, but thousands of times. Right? You will. But when you love this thing and you've got that vision and you've got that purpose and you've got that passion, you won't quit when the world says you should. And it gives you power over fear. And you know what? I left my phone. I have a quote that I want to close with. Hey, Mark, can you go in my office and write on the, go to the left there. My phone is up on the shelf to your left. I have a quote. I meant to put it up. Why don't you run that on up, brother? Come on, man. Yeah. I want to close with this quote because this is so powerful, you guys.
For shizzle dizzle.
We got it, bro. Yeah. Okay, listen to this. Okay? No matter what anyone says, and then we're going to get into recognition. No matter what anyone says, just show up and do the work. If they praise you, show up and do the work. If they criticize you, show up and do the work. If no one even notices you, just show up and do the work. Just keep showing up, do the work, and leading the way. Lead with passion, fuel with optimism, have faith, power up with love, maintain hope, be stubborn, fight the good fight, refuse to give up, ignore the critics, believe the impossible, show up, do the work, you'll be glad you did. True grit leads to true success. On your feet for recognition.